Hello, it's Big J.
What's up, Big J? This is K.Flay.
K.Flay, how's it going?
It is great. I'm excited to come to Billings, dude.
I know, we're excited to have you. And by that, I mean, like, as of a week ago, I was excited to have you because we get so many acts here that I just kind of let most of them fly under the radar. And I hadn't heard of you. And then somebody on Facebook was like, hey, check this chick out. And I went and watched some videos, checked out some of your book reviews, kind of just... I became an instant fan. I think you've got such an awesome story and you're such an awesome artist. And I'm like, I got to let people know K.Flay's coming to town.
Oh, dude, I really appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time to do it.
No problem. Tell people, for the people out there that don't know who you are, that were kind of in the same boat as I am, you've got a really interesting not coming of age, but I mean the story of how you came to be an artist is pretty interesting. You were going to school in, where were you going to school?
I was going to school at Stanford in California.
People might have heard of it.
Yeah, and we just beat USC. Anyway, I was studying psychology and sociology, and I hadn't been involved in music, and I kind of stumbled into it, really almost as like a dare from a friend, and then I started playing house parties, and that kind of led to starting to play shows in San Francisco and the Bay Area, and I just kind of like somersaulted my way here.
That's awesome. I mean, what you said it started with a dare. Was it like, I mean, did you always have an aspiration to get into music, or was it more of like, hey, that's ridiculous, I can do that same thing, or what was your feeling when you jumped into it?
I think my feeling was, I hadn't always had aspirations of doing music at all, but I was talking with a buddy of mine about, like, because when I got to California, there was a really, really vibrant local hip-hop scene that was really cool and had all this stuff going on, but I felt like the kind of national mainstream music wasn't as cool, especially with hip-hop stuff at that time, and I was sort of like, I feel like I could do something. And he was like, well, why don't you? And that was the genesis of the whole thing, and
that's
I just
crazy.
Discovered along the way. Yeah, it's super weird.
What was the moment where you went from kind of just proving the point of like, you know what, this is ridiculous, watch what I can do? Where was the turning point from that to the point where you thought like, wow, this is actually really fun and I can express myself, and like, where'd you kind of turn that corner there?
I think when I actually started to understand the production stuff more, because I started off making beats as well, and when I finally figured out how to do that, I think that's when it really clicked, because at that point, I really had all of the means of production within my little dorm room, and it was one of those things where I would play a show and someone would be there and be like, hey, well, you play this party too, and so it kind of just was a self-sustaining, weird linear progression. But yeah, it's really weird looking back.
Yeah, it totally is. And how's your career gone since you started doing the house parties and stuff? What's the career trajectory been since then? I mean, was it instantly like you started, getting bigger and bigger and touring more and more? Was it an album? What came next?
Well, I'm actually really happy with how it's kind of progressed. I feel like it's been a really natural development, and I basically started playing shows locally, a lot of shows, and kind of getting a little bit more of a name, in my local scene, and then I started getting opening slots on national tours with a bunch of different bands, and I've toured with electronic acts and pop acts and super hip hop acts, and kind of like really spanning the gamut. So I got my touring legs doing that, and then I put out a mixtape called I Stopped Caring in '96, and then an EP, and those have been kind of like the two big releases, and I'm actually just finishing up recording my first full length.
Very cool. What a cool. I mean, who's embracing you on the music? I mean, not on the fan side of things, but on the producer end of things. I mean, do you have a record label that's really gotten behind you? Do you have a manager? Who's propelling you on that side of things?
Yeah, no, I do have a manager, and I signed to RCA, so I am Yeah, I
You're
have
all
a
set.
label and everything now.
You
yeah.
need to get like
But
you need to get like Bieber or somebody to just champion you. You know, you need like kind of like The Voice. You need somebody to like not to mentor you necessarily, but just to take you under their wing and like lift you up onto that pedestal so the world can see.
yeah.
You need to
Well, I've
sleep with
always-
somebody famous and get on the cover of like Star magazine.
I really should sacrifice all my morals. No, I think, it's been, the cool thing about it is I've always kind of had a little bit of outsider status in the sense that I'm doing something a little bit outside of the genre, or that's a mix of a bunch of different things, but it's been cool because I think it's allowed me to blaze my own little trail, and I'm at the point right now where I feel like I'm ready to, put out that first album and really make a statement about, this is like who I am as an artist, and just put on a great show for people.
That's awesome. When you come to town, you're playing Wednesday night, October 3rd at Mannys here. What's the show like? I mean, is it you and a drummer? Is it all from a computer and you rapping over it? Do you grab the guitar? Like, what's a K.Flay show like?
Yeah, so the show, as it stands now, is I have my electronic station, so I've got a few controllers, drum machines, stuff that I use. And then I have a drummer with me, and it's just the two of us. So it kind of feels a little bit like a rock show, even though it is like an electronic hip hop show. But it just, Nick, who drums with me, he and I just have like so much fun every night, and I think we both feel very blessed that maybe even one person would show up. So we're just trying to facilitate a really cool like live vital music experience for anybody who's there.
That's awesome. See, that's the attitude that I love in music. It's kind of like your whole story. You got into it because you're kind of against some of the crap that's out there, and then you can actually turn and become super successful, and that's what I love. We just had Fun here in town about a month and a half ago,
yeah.
and they kind of have the same story. I was talking to them, and like they're a bunch of guys from bands that just love doing kind of funky stuff that were on the road playing, like you said, to just happy 4 or 5 people showed up, and then they get together and somehow like get this wave underneath them that just takes them to this monstrous success, and they're just still so happy to go into venues and just like put on a killer show for the people that paid the money to come and see them. And I love that it's like not only are you still putting on the show that you're proud of and doing what you love, but that finally you can get some cash and buy mom a house and get rewarded like the artists that are putting out the crap out there.
Well, hopefully I'll get to that point, but no, I'm super excited, and I feel like the live show has been a real like signature part of what I do and what I'm about as an artist. And so, like getting to, I was in Missoula on our last spring tour, but like, now getting to come to Billings and like just seeing more cities and interacting with people in all these different places is so much fun and is awesome. And by the way, I'm going to ask you, where's the food spot we should go to? Where's the jam?
What are you looking for? Like burgers, steaks, like upscale? I mean, what vibe are you looking for?
No, we're grungy folk.
I always suggest, just because it's cool and it's local, the Burger Dive. So I would think of that if you want like a good burger. It's just like a local burger joint. Everything's made by hand, but they're just always packed and kind of eclectic stuff in there. But and then we got killer steaks up here too. The Travel Channel was just here last week filming our restaurant, The Rex, down on Montana Avenue for a big steak special they're doing. So downtown, like The Rex, Jake's, any of those places, you can get a killer steak. So if that's what you're into. But we've also got great sushi now. We've become like a real city here in the past 5 or 6 years. We're like
That's
a legitimate community instead of what we were when I grew up here. It's changed. I like it.
That's cool, and you're a part of it, which is dope.
Exactly. I'm like you, except you left and are spreading the K.Flay love, and I'm just staying in my little cocoon here and letting people come to me.
Well, I think that's a good mentality.
Yeah, I switch it up every once in a while. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am that I stumbled upon your music, and I still like to check it out, watch more and more videos, and I hope other people will as well. And we're going to play, we've got your new track with Michna, is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got that new track, and we're going to play that. So anything,
Awesome.
Any backstory people need to know, or do they just enjoy it?
I mean, basically just enjoy it, but Michna and I, so we're on this tour together, and yeah, we were both in LA. We linked up. We're like, let's do a track. It's a tongue-in-cheek song about being in LA, because I actually do like LA, and a lot of my good friends live there, but it's easy to poke fun at it. So it's kind of just a feel-good, like, hip-hop track.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I think people will want to hear. And they can come and see the show and get a little more than just this track. Feel the full K.Flay experience. I think it's one of those shows people are going to see in 5 years from now are going to say, holy crap, that was awesome. I got to see her in such a small venue and so intimate and get to shake her hand after the show. So I hope everybody comes out and supports you Wednesday night at Mannys, 7 o'clock showtime. K.Flay, thanks so much for taking the time for us, and we can't wait to see you on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, dude. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be in Billings.
All right. Bye-bye, K.Flay. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.